Oh, it's a dark day. Oh, the day is dark.
I was born in the dark.
No, that's not that. I was born in the dark.
There you go.
You're married adopted to me. Little beat, and I can't say it. This kid's watching.
I've got an edit I'm gonna send you. It's so sick.
I hate. Okay, no, hate's a strong word. Strong word. I can't stand that film.
Yeah, well, it's because you're a proper Batman appreciator.
I'm a storyteller appreciator. I love a good story. When someone creates, now the thing with a good story is character. For any screenwriter to make the movie jump out of the screen, you need to give your character life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Screenwriters, they go away from the comics and all that because they try to give it a level of realism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's relatability. Yeah. Now, how?
Feel the passion, ladies and gentlemen.
How could you? How could you?
Man, let go of the wheel, you know. Go on.
How could you transform somebody from a luchador, hunter, mercenary assassin, a proper mercenary who hunted the best and most dangerous prey in the world? His mission, he had his own army, had his own team. His mission was to hunt the baddest guys on the planet just because they were the baddest, and he wanted to show that it was the bad man upon bad man. He was the alpha bad man. That guy.
This is Bane you're talking about.
When he wore his luchador mask, it showed that he was going for the kill. How could you unwrite that character and write him as a simp?
Well,
Exactly.
we spoke about representation last week, didn't we?
I'm just cruising. Episode 24. Kevla Kess, Dr. Love. Today's topic, today's agenda, today's episode.
I think you set the tone quite well with that red, actually.
Yes. No. This is about fear. Partner fear.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things I just want to rant about, but one is men that are scared of their girlfriends or wives.
Men that are scared of their significant other.
Yeah.
That's the first one. The second one is customer service, no?
Bad customer service. Oh yeah, customer service.
Customer service. Right, okay. Now let's go. Men who are scared of their significant other. Why, Dr. Love, would you want to bring this topic up today?
I'm glad you asked me that question. So, this is something I see a lot anyway, but there are a few instances recently, and I'll share one with you. I was on a train, and there's a guy opposite me, and he's sitting in the middle, and then to his left is a friend of his, and to his right is his girlfriend. And so I get on the train. It's quite late, and I can tell he's intoxicated. So he looks at me. Yeah, he looks at me, and I can see he wants to do that thing where, you know, people who don't normally talk to strangers are now like, "Oh, I'm intoxicated and I'm live for the party."
Now I can talk.
Now I can talk, right? And I was like, not in the mood. Like, I've been dealing with drunk people all evening. Like, it's not the night. So I didn't really make eye contact. Like, hey, I was just kind of like looked at him, kind of nodded, and sat down. I said, and he's a proper, like, he's a geezer. Do you know what I mean? He's a proper geezer. So he's talking, and so he's talking to his mate, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, I heard about your thing the other night," and then they're going back and forth. And then he goes, "Oh yeah, you know, I was thinking about coming along to blah blah blah, but you know what? I've got to ask permission from the missus." And like, he cracked a joke about it, but he was serious. Like, he needed to ask permission, and And then the other guy was like, oh yeah, you know, you got to ask permission. And I see a lot of this where either men are afraid of their partners. Sometimes it's not even their partners. Sometimes someone will post something and you'll see the comments and it'll be like, oh, you must not like life, like posting that, like, you know, like women are gonna like come to your house and like kill you.
Forks and pitchforks.
Yeah, and it's like, I have a lot to say on this, but I think it's real interesting to me to be that concerned about what anyone thinks about what you do. You know, to kind of give away your power to that degree, to me is.
You want the short answer or the long answer?
I'd be interested to hear your take. I'm not asking for an answer. Like, this isn't the problem for me. But
see, masculine mind. Problem, solution. The answer is
I don't want peace. Give me your thoughts on it.
Mate. I'm like, look on the board. A, B, C, or D. What's the answer?
That's literally how my mind works.
Legit. It's like,
what are we doing
here? The answer
here?
is A. That's it.
What are we doing here?
That's it. The end.
Let's get it sorted.
It's like,
and move on with our lives.
Lord of the Rings. Throw the ring. No. The ring means a lot to me. If I throw it, she'll get mad at me. Okay. And then spend my own. Push him in.
Push him in.
You like the ring. You and the ring go together.
Then you would be separated, yeah.
The answer is A. Look on the block. Oh, my chest. Right. Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. Right. It's actually chivalry gone wrong. It's chivalry gone wrong. It's the gentlemanly thing taken out of proportion.
I never agree with that, but go ahead.
No. It's the gentleman thing gone past its due date.
Due date, you know.
It's expired, but we're still using it. You say, it still works. It hasn't got mold on it. It doesn't smell. I can still eat it. It's what it is. You know, men have been trained from birth to open doors, everything. Dude, I still do the open doors for strangers. I don't get a thank you. I just go, just like, you know, open doors, find out what's happening. Just from being the person who is the natural protector, you now put all the burden onto you. And what happens is, if I'm always protecting you, always looking after you, always doing things without complaint, you now get used to that level of attention I give you, and it goes to your head. And when I don't do that, you start going to me and start saying to me, why haven't you opened doors? Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? Like, it's my duty to do that. But again, I've been programmed through chivalry to believe that that's my duty. And at the same time, we're talking about equality and equal rights. But that's not equality. Wow. Chivalry is not equality.
It's a lot of
you want to go there?
A lot of selective equality out there, man.
That's my point. But anyway, regardless about that one, so after the chivalry comes in, now the partner is accustomed to that level of chivalry, right? And when they don't get that, they complain, they get angry, they get upset about that level of... Is that a dog?
I have no idea what she's carrying. This is South London. Anything can happen.
Right, sorry. Right, so we just saw... Let me just pause. We just saw someone... You know how you carry a baby on your chest like that and it's all strapped up?
Goodness.
We just saw someone carrying their dog on their chest all strapped up. And I had to just like...
I just saw hair. It just looked like a lot of hair, so it couldn't have been a child. And this was like a really big fleece.
Chivalry. Yeah. So when one doesn't get that amount of chivalry anymore, there's the complaint, there's the, oh, how dare you, why aren't you doing this? And what happens is, throughout time, a lot of people have learned how to manipulate the other the kinder half. Does that make sense?
Mm.
In the sense that if I know that these words are gonna trigger you at the time of weakness and vulnerability, I'll use that against you. I'll be like, oh, you didn't do this for me. You must be less of a blah blah than you used to be. You didn't do that for me. I'm gonna make you feel bad about that. I'm gonna abuse you without physically abusing you, by verbally poking at you, and then not giving you the sweet steak because you've not done the right thing.
Not giving you the what now?
The sweet steak.
The sweet steak.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Jiggy jiggy.
Jiggy jiggy.
Yeah, I was gonna factor jiggy jiggy into this as well.
Yeah, the sweet meat. Because if you don't do all these things, you don't get the sweet meat. So what happens now is the partner, the woman, is now using box in a Pavlovian way.
I love how you switch between
It's chivalry, right?
language, box,
Box.
Pavlovian.
She's using box in a Pavlovian way, which is basically, if you're good to me, you get box.
Sex is a weapon.
If you don't do what I say, you don't get box. So now man A wants to rebel against it. It's like, nah man, you stupid, dumb, get out of my face. There's Pornhub, I got this. Champagne of victory, rub one out. Boom, yay. But then man B goes, nah man, you have to go with the program. How, don't change system for us. Because if you do this now, we're gonna get bad. So man B, C, D, E, F is part of the program. Man A wants to rebel. But man A cannot rebel because this is the way. If that makes sense.
What do you mean he can't rebel?
He can't rebel. Because all his friends are doing, like you said. He was gonna say, oh, my missus, but then the friend
Even confirmed,
oh yeah, you have to take permission as an adult.
And you know what's funny? I can imagine if I was to share that story to a mixture
Yes.
of males and females, the females would probably say, "Oh, but yeah, he's just being considerate to her. He's just being considerate and making sure da 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 da." And yet, if you flipped it around, and she was asking him permission to do stuff, I'm sure there'd be a lot more backlash. Like, how come are you asking him permission? It's not your dad. Anyway,
But he is being considerate.
yeah, he is. He is in a sense.
It's quite nice of him.
My thinking, my take on it. This guy, it's quite nice of him. Who are you right now?
I'm Kevin, like this.
Devil's advocate. That's who you are.
I'm
right
leading
now.
on to something. There's
I know you are.
There's a purpose.
I know there's always a purpose. That's why I pause. Like, what are you up to? Right? I know you're up to something.
Wow.
What I was gonna say was, okay. So on the one hand, I don't think there's anything wrong with being considerate. So let's say, for example, he has plans with his girlfriend, and he's checking. He's checking it against that, or she's expecting him to do ABC, and he's being considerate in that sense, where he's like, okay, let me factor that in. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What I'm talking about is the fear of not having her approval. And going back to what you were saying, or connecting to what you were saying, there is a social programming where men are really trained to do something to receive some sort of approval, right? So it's like, like I've said, used this analogy before, but you watch the movie and the guy, he kills the aliens, he saves the planet, he's broken his leg, he's got shot 6 times, and then he gets the girl at the end of the movie after all of that. And so there's very much this idea that you have to do X, Y, Z to earn a woman's love, or earn a woman's attentions, or earn a woman's what's the term you used? No, I'm not going to use that term, man. It's just that box. Yeah, to earn a woman's sexual favors, like you have to do all of these things, and so
sweet meat.
I think it's not one for me, man.
Honey pot.
Could do this all day.
Dip.
Did you say dip? dip. I swear you just made that up.
It's dip, isn't it?
But you can see like this fear is like, oh my god, she's gonna be upset at me, or like you say, oh, I'm not gonna get any jiggy like because
China.
She's now not happy with me.
From Boston.
Do you know the one that killed
China.
me? When this is an old one, I don't know if people even use it, but when I first heard the term gash, I was like, oh my god, it even sounds violent, bruv. Gash. Like that's what happens if you like injure yourself or you get cut. How could you call it gash? Like I just didn't connect the two things. Like that's not how I think of it.
Like
anyway,
yeah,
it's like I understand, like, but fuck, it's kind of vicious. But yeah, and I think buying into that kind of that frame of thinking where you're not good enough. Like you're not good enough as you are. You have to do X, Y, Z to deserve this, or you have to jump through these hoops. I think it's just
you have to learn to play piano in the dark.
It's not the way forward. And I know social programming is very powerful, and it's like it's a very few people that will go against it.
Right.
But to me, it's the only way to really be free is to find what your own philosophy is and what you think and what you deserve. Because otherwise, you're always going to be in a situation where you have no leverage and you're always seeking to get approval. And ultimately, as an adult, you should be doing what you want to do. You shouldn't be like, okay, well, I'm not going to do these things I want because I want to please someone else. It's like,
but see,
where's the self-love at?
That's the beginning of the end, though.
Say again?
That's the beginning of the end. I've got three different.
This is what I mean. But there's so many things clicking in my head right now. You go ahead.
I got you. It's this old song, The Gambler. I know you know that song, bro. You got to know when know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. That. There's a time for everything. I got you. So, your relationship with your partner. There's a time to share, and there's a time not to share. I got you.
I said it to my woman when I was eating my crisps last night. Sorry, go ahead.
I got you.
It's silly.
There's a time to share, and a time not to share. Right. And the sharing and not sharing things when you're on your purpose. Understand this. When you on your purpose, you are on your purpose. There are things that no one would understand but you. On your purpose, you know at that point in time, taking this road or this route would not make sense to your partner or anybody else. So you're going to get discouraged. Do whatever. Regardless of what everyone says, do that. That's the thing. So it's a case where it's like, if I say to you, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to be, it's going to be backlash. Don't do it. It's not going to make this. It's not going to count. But on your purpose, you know that it's going to suck today, but tomorrow it's going to gain. It's one of those times you don't tell anyone anything. It's like, no, I'm doing me.
So true, man.
Regardless of what I'm doing me, because you won't get it now, but tomorrow you get it. So that's one of those cases where it's like, I've got to go do this.
That's a very good point.
Regardless of how you think or feel about this, I'm doing this. Tomorrow you will thank me. So for now, you're welcome.
That's a really good point. I think the only person you can share that stuff with is people
who are on that grind with you.
Yeah. Think on that level, who have done it or they're in the process of doing it.
That's what it is.
Everyone else is going to think they're talking a different
That's what
language.
it is. Do not make the Obama mistake. Which is what? Barack Obama, president. Michelle Obama, see, that's what I said. First lady, not vice president. See what I'm saying?
Go on.
That's what it is right there. Michelle Obama is a great person, but she was not VP. So because you are the wife, does not mean you know the job. Because you are the missus does not mean you know the job. Just because you're married to a plumber does not mean you're a plumber. It's true.
It's true.
Game. Just because you're married to a doctor does not by proxy make you a doctor. Nah, sit down. Play your role. doctor knows what he's doing. He's spent years doing that, decades doing that. Just because you wear the ring doesn't mean you make you a doctor. No, that doctor knows when to tell you what to do. Do you think someone in his profession, on his grind, will have to ask his missus permission to go to work? Chale kwasia. Move. That's what it is. You know when to, you know when not to. And I see that a lot. So I have to ask permission. It's not me, it's you. That's what I just said. It's you. That's you. That's a you thing. That's not a me thing. You think for all my grind I've done for the past 2 decades, I have to ask someone permission to go and do more? For real. It's not happening, mate. Not happening. You can bounce the ball. There's a pack there. There's a pack there. There's a pack there. Go and bounce ball. Go and bounce ball. It's that simple. So when I see that and I go, it makes sense. For me, it makes sense when someone is trying to ask permission to do 1, 2, 3. That's fine. That's their own. They haven't got purpose of grind. Moreover, the things they are doing, it's what's the word they use? They use function and fashion, right? It's not function, it's just fashion. It's things that are irrelevant in the grand scheme of time. There are things that don't count in 3 years' time and 5 years' time. I want to go and party and drink with the boys. Go and ask permission. Go and ask her, say, Auntie, can I go and drink? Yes, go. No, don't. Back at midnight. That one has permission. But if I have to go and build a nation, I don't need permission for that. That's my rant over, sir. I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense.
It's true. That's that. That's that. So when I see guys asking permission, I just go, I nod. I shake. You know, I shrug my shoulders. You do you. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. But again, that's me and that's you on your purpose, on your grind, looking at the world in a different light than they are. Because you're going places, you're going somewhere with your mind. Someone like that isn't. You know, it's also the happy wife, happy life, no?
No.
What's your opinion on that statement? Happy wife, happy life.
I think it's a myth. I think it's about as accurate as the customer is always right. You know, I deal with a lot of customers now, and I've learned how fucking untrue that is. They're usually not. Do you know what I mean?
When I hear that, I just go. Whenever someone comes to me who is not obviously in my industry and says the customer is always right, I go, shut up.
That's fucking hilarious, man.
I do.
You need to work in some sort of service industry to fully grasp how off that line is.
I say, shut up. Someone, and I get but I pay you to. I said, no, you don't pay me for my. Let me tell you what it is. You pay for my presence and my knowledge. That's what it is. I will not come to your workplace and tell you how to do your job. So you don't come to my place. Matter of fact, teach. And let's see what you know. Exactly. So what did I say in the first place? Shut up! Let me do me. And everyone gets shocked like, whoa, yeah, I do that. I shout a lot. I am not nice. I'm not good. I am necessary. I am necessary. What does that mean?
I use that word all the time now.
I am nice to those who are nice to me. I am mean to those who have an inkling or try to be mean to me or others. I am necessary, not nice. Simple.
I had a woman come to the bar on Saturday and she was in her whole, I want this, I want this, blah, blah, blah. So I'm doing the stuff and she's just talking to the point where it was just literally distracting me. I looked at her and I was like, and the woman next to her was like, there's a whole woman theme for the evening, and I was like, would you just, I can like concentrate on what I'm doing. And so I made the drinks, and one I free poured. So you can pour using like a measure, or you can free pour if you can know how to do a count and the rest of it. So one I did free, and one I did with a measure. And she goes, "Oh, actually, you used the wrong thing. The other side of the thing is the one you used to do the double shot." I looked at her and I was like, I took it, poured it back in. I said I free poured it, and I poured it back in to show that it was like spot on. And she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, maybe I should shut up now." And I was like, "Do you think? Imagine I show up at your workplace and start coming to tell you what you do. How would that be?" She was like, "Yeah, that would probably be a bit weird." But getting back to the happy wife, happy life thing, I think that is the biggest myth, because ultimately happiness comes from within, right? Like, it's not about, oh, her job is to make him happy, his job is to make her happy. Your happiness comes from within. Like, it's interesting because it's actually an internal, subjective experience. And so the idea of someone making you happy is, it's a recipe for disaster, man. Because I remember my first 2 relationships, I was in that headspace of like, okay, if I just do all of these things, she's gonna be happy. If I just do this and do that. And I used to jump through all these hoops and do all of this stuff. And there are a lot of men on this planet who are driving themselves crazy trying to make
to end their lives.
Listen, I've been in some dark spaces based on not being able to do what wasn't even possible, right? But then later on I realized, like, it's an inside job when it comes to happiness. And so ultimately it's about making yourself happy. And it's very easy to blame, right? To be like, okay, well, I'm unhappy, it must be this motherfucker that I'm with. A lot of people do that, but it's a cop-out. You know, you got to take responsibility for your own happiness. And also, I do find, in general, women's moods and so on are much more fluctuating. They vacillate on a completely different, I think, frequency and
you think so?
Amplitude to men. Like, I think men's emotions go up and down, but
I see a lot of men today.
To be honest with you, it's 2022. I might have to run that back, actually.
You have to run that
I
back.
might have to run that back,
you-
actually. Yeah, I'm running that back. I'm running that back.
You need to check your calendar.
Because men... This ain't Back to the Future, motherfucker. No, because men nowadays are so feminine, actually. I take that back.
It's not feminine. It's just... I see a lot more stable women today than men.
Oh, but that's what I mean. Like, men are more feminine, women are more masculine. So it's all a bit mad. But fundamentally, I think your happiness is an inside job. And I think if you're setting yourself up to be the person that makes someone else happy, you're asking for a lot of stress, man.
You can't make anyone happy who's not happy.
Exactly. You can. I feel like you can enhance someone's happiness. Like, you can kind of add to it a little bit, maybe, but only if they're in the right space.
If it's not there, it's not there. It's not your problem. It's not your job. If a person hasn't got that internal happiness in there, you waste your whole life just trying to find the spark, and it's not been there the whole time. It's just them, and it's unfortunate that many a time in many a communicationship, that's the case, and it's the lack of knowledge that's the problem there. So people don't know this. A lot of women try to make a man happy, and he's just not happy. No matter what it is, she can't reach him, and then she starts thinking that she's the problem. And a lot of men try to make a woman happy, and they just can't reach her. And no matter what happens, he doesn't know that it's her, because every other friend of theirs who is not a professional has given them the wrong advice.
Yes.
Remember, person A, person B, person C goes, "Oh, you just stay there because, it's what we do. It's what we do. We struggle, love, what we do. Just stay there. One day, there will, the heart will open. I will pray for you." Dude, I'm literally, like, it's a B movie. I'm giving you the whole script. the whole script. That's exactly, anywhere you go to, that's the exact script. Oh, one day they will change their heart. One day God will touch their heart. You see what I'll do? I'll pray for you. External locus of control. Google it.
Locus of control is key. So connecting to this, which I think is a nice bridge, happy wife, happy life, and being scared of your partner. If we boil it down to your own happiness, because if you are prioritizing your own happiness and you know how to be happy and you make yourself happy, then it's not that you don't care about the other person, but your happiness isn't dependent on the external. It's not dependent on the other person.
Yes.
And so then no one has leverage over you.
Yes.
And what I notice happens then is you start to prioritize yourself, your well-being, and the things that you need to do.
Yes.
Now, there's people that are going to have issues with that. Right?
Yes.
They're going to be like, Kez, you're selfish, or Kez, you're this, or you're that.
How dare you be happy without me?
How dare you be happy without me, right? How dare you be so selfish that you don't put me ahead of you? But I'm not being selfish saying that, you're being selfish doing that.
Being selfish.
But yeah, right? But you get to a point where you care less and less. Because I've been through this process, right? Because I was someone that was always doing for everyone, putting everyone else first, and then you end up just depleted and resentful and everything, right? And sick, man. It breaks you down. But then when you start prioritizing yourself, it might feel weird at first, but after a while you get used to it, and then your energy builds, and then eventually you start giving, but you start giving from your overflow. And so it's a sustainable form of giving. Like, I know now when it's like, okay, I need to stop and recharge and do me. Like, today, fuck everybody. Like, I'm not taking any call. Like, the other day I was like, yeah, I'm not doing anything, and my mum was like, oh, but I wanted you to come over. And she, you know, when people do that whole kind of like disappointed, like,
how dare you not come and see me?
You know that thing? They're like, because they wouldn't do that themselves, right? They're used to just being able to, they're used to just, putting other people first. But you're like, no, I'm sorry, like, today's about me. I need this. But I couldn't have done that before. But anyway, the point I'm making is, once you get to that place, then it changes, because either the people around you will adapt to that, or they're going to leave. And I think that one of the biggest keys is being able to take that L, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, well, this is the line, and if it means that this friendship or this relationship or whatever isn't going to work, then so be it.
Take the L.
But I think there's so many people that aren't prepared to do that because they don't have anything else. Do you know what I mean? To fall back on. They're just like, oh my god, if she leaves me, I'm done, or if he leaves me, I'm done. Like they're so attached to that thing because they haven't learned how to like feed themselves.
Makes sense. That's why you saw me this afternoon. I was like, weakness disgusts me.
Oh, you mean when you saw that I had a cold? This motherfucker.
You're welcome. That's what I do.
No, it was just abusing his staff in the gym as well.
Yeah, that's what I do. Get used to it. Call HR.
There's no HR. Oh, I'm HR.
I'm HR.
Someone was telling me the other day. There was a guy at his workplace who was like a gay guy who was flirting with him, but he was also HR, so like he couldn't tell anyone. I was dying. Oh man.
The irony of life, eh? It's fun times.
Oh,
it's beautiful. It's fine.
The universe is funny, man.
We're awesome. I love this universe we live in. I'm telling you. Creative for your mind. Everything just gets created. How you see it is totally up to you.
Oh.
Yeah. So in that concept, when self-happiness is quite contagious, you know.
Oh yeah.
When you are actually genuinely happy with yourself, by yourself, with yourself, you attract people.
There's a glow.
There's a glow about you, and it's contagious.
Mm-hmm.
It's contagious. Those who are not happy can't stand you.
Yeah.
They want nothing to do with you because they're like, you remind them of what they don't have.
Yeah.
and you have it naturally.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for it. It's just there. It's scary. But then those who are actually happy see you and go, "Ooh,
my
man!
Yeah, exactly.
And it's beautiful
all the time. Then.
And you grow like that because you now have the right people around you. You have your circle, not your cage, and everyone wants to grow. It's a big difference. You have circle of friends, your cage of friends. You decide. Totally up to you. You just grow and grow and grow and boom. And in that way, even your partner sees your happiness and craves you more because you are happy, and they want to be happy as well. And you start teaching them their happiness comes from them.
Yeah.
Which is now, if you think about it, it's actually not happy wife, happy life. It's actually happy spouse, happy house. So you both deserve to be happy.
100%.
Because I see this. This is why I spend a lot of time away from the interweb, the webinet.
Good.
Away from, because a lot of people who are online have never had a 5-year relationship or a 7-year relationship. They don't know what a 10-year relationship feels like. 10 years, 20 years. They're too young for that. They don't know what it feels like. They don't know what you go through after year 1, year 5, year 10. They don't know. So they cannot tell you what it's like to be with the person for 10 years or 20 years. They can't tell you.
Yep.
They don't have a clue what that looks like, feels like, seems like. We just don't. Woman, they just don't. Hello. Lights on. Right. They just don't. So how could you, who have no experience in things, try to explain to me what that scenario is? Houseway. How?
This is the thing. We've said this a few times now, but it's just baffling how many people are giving advice on stuff. It's the blind leading the blind. And something I heard Kevin Trudeau say once was, listen to people who have what you want. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's the best way.
It's the best way. Like, if someone has what you want in business, listen to them. If they have what they want in terms of spirituality, inner peace, listen to them. If they have what you want in terms of physicality, it's very, very simple. And one thing I wanted to add to what I was saying before is there is a transition period. So if you're in a space where you're not surrounded by positive people,
yes,
and you are now making that transition to working on yourself, there's gonna be a challenge, because you might find that you're gonna lose some people in that cage, as you put it, who no longer connect with you in the same way. And the way I explained it to one of my friends once is like, it's almost like you're going from this vibrational level to this one, but there's a space in between where you're not stable at this one.
Yes.
And you're no longer fitting here, so you're kind of in between, and so you might find that for a while you don't have those connections around you. But it's like, as you spend more time in that positive energy, in positive practices, in things like exercise, meditation, reading, stuff which is really feeding your mind, body, and spirit, and connecting with more people that are on that new level, eventually you start to kind of anchor and stabilize at that level. And then when you're there, that's when it's like you'll start attracting circumstances that match that. Like, I can see differences now between me now and even like 6 months ago, 12 months ago, just in the quality of interactions I have on a day-to-day basis, and the environments, the circumstances, the level of people that I'm meeting. And I don't mean level in terms of these people are better, but just in terms of mindset, awareness, consciousness, wealth, abundance, wisdom, all of these different things, creativity. Like, I can just see it's just like it's going up. So at certain points you just have to kind of keep going, and it might be you might have a little lonely phase there, but that's good, because it will get you get to know yourself more.
The lonely phase is good, actually, because that's the phase where you kind of get your self-appreciation.
Yes.
I won't say self-love, I'll say self-appreciation. appreciation.
It's the same thing. He just
It
doesn't like
is.
love because it's like
No, I
Mr.
love
T.
love. It's
I ain't seen no
I
love.
say appreciation because when we use the word love, we block out many of the other things.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff attached to that
The
word.
minute I say love, everything else just shuts down. No, focus. I need you here. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
That's why they are you yeah, I know exactly why you did that.
Self-appreciation. Because you start to put it all together. I had to break down again this week about the whole infatuation and propinquity and love thing. Again, it's the step process.
Can you explain what propinquity propinquity?
Propinquity
I'm a
is
wordsmith, that's not good. Propinquity, there we go. Propinquity.
I know it's, your first time saying that is not so easy. Propinquity, in a simpler form of term, is when you start to like a person because you are around them more often. That's propinquity. And there's nothing wrong with propinquity. Propinquity is why in this day and age a lot of office workers have work husband and work wife, because they spend too much time together. Not too much time. They spend more time together than they do with their own partners at home. So you spend 8 hours a day with this person, 5 days, sometimes 6 days a week. You go on what you call it together. You go on business trips together. You travel together. You do all these things together. Whether you call it business or whatever, that's you and another human being spending 10 to 12 hours a day every day. You now get to know what they eat, what they drink, what they like, what they don't like, and third. And you now have a fondness. Now it does not have to be sexual. You understand? It's just that you are so used to and fond of this person that when you change your workspace, when you change your workplace, you change to a whole new business, it actually genuinely feels like a marriage breakup.
Wow.
It does. Non-sexual, but you're going to miss them. It's gonna feel like your relationship has ended. Propinquity. Likeness due to proximity, yeah.
Yeah, it happens all the time, man. Happens all the time.
It does.
Yeah, these stories, offices, nurses.
A
lot of these jobs.
Dude, I don't know. See, I don't.
Apparently, that's one of the professions. Like, if you don't know which professions, like, they're most likely to have some
thing on the side,
extramarital stuff. Yeah,
I
nurses
don't,
up there.
dude,
Apparently, I only discovered.
I don't even know
recently.
about this. Everyone just saying like, nurses.
This is what I've heard like recently, like, and it was it a lawyer that said it? Pretty sure it was a fairly reputable source. Yeah,
I've heard nurses. I've heard teachers.
Yes, that's what I've heard as well. I've heard nurses and teachers.
I've heard nurses. I've heard teachers.
Do you know? And you know
I've
what?
heard personal trainers.
Nurses,
teachers, personal trainers.
I know some personal trainers, and they told me some stories. I think I can see all of those though, because I did personal training for about a year, and what I found was that you get really close with people, man. Do you know what I mean? Because they're not just going, show me this workout routine. No, you start talking. They start telling, I did this weekend. How you doing? How's your week? And so you become almost like
intimate friend.
Yeah, there's an intimacy there. You become almost like a therapist or a coach.
You're the boyfriend that listens.
Yeah, you're an empathetic ear, and so it makes total sense to me how certain things could happen. And then with those other careers, nurses and teaching, they're both jobs which are very demanding. There's a level of stress involved in both of those roles, and they're both the kind of jobs which you're not really going to get if you don't do them. Like, you're not like your partner at home is not really going to understand what it's like to be on a ward for like 12 hours or dealing with certain things. And it's the same as a teacher, right? Like, you teach, it's not easy to like teach. Like, well, you love doing what you're doing, but to teach kids, martial arts is a little bit different, I think, because the physicality of it, and they're doing something they're into and they enjoy. But in a classroom, to hold the attention of kids, right? Get them to sit down and sit still and pay attention for like, oh my goodness, I've done a little bit and it is brutal. So I can totally get why those people end up gravitating. They go drinking afterwards and like, you know, unload them. Yeah. And everyone ends up having sex with each other. Like, I can totally see how that mess happens.
Fair enough. I get that. Ooh. We had this rant about customer service. Please. please.
Oh, I'm such an arsehole. I went into the store and like, I walked in. And you know what it is? It's because I work in the service industry now. My standards are much higher than they were because I realised it's not that hard to provide good customer service. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, the person walks in, you make eye contact.
Okay.
Hello, sir. How you doing today? Do you know what I mean? It's just simple, basic things like that. And so I walk into the store, guy doesn't look at me, he's on his phone. I'm like, okay. I walk up, I ask him.
He said it on his phone and it gets triggered.
I know you saw me grab my phone just then. I was putting it on flight mode for the record. So I walk in, he's on his phone or whatever. Fair enough. I walk over, I tell him what I want. I take out my wallet. This guy's still on his phone, like does whatever he's doing. So I'm like, okay. Yeah, exactly right. It's like X already, right? Black mark, not tick. So then I go and pick up a few other things, and I come back and I'm looking for a particular thing because I wanted to try and make a particular drink, right? So the alcohol's behind him, and I'm looking. He asked me what I want, and I told him. I said, "Oh, I don't think you have it, to be honest." And he said, oh, "Okay." And then I go to pay, and he's on his phone again, right? But now, exactly, right? Now my psycho side's kicking in because I'm like, you're actually taking a piss because now I want to leave, and you're wasting my time fucking around on your phone. So he's on his phone, and I'm like, yo, can you just do that when I'm gone? Like, I'm literally going to be out of here in 5 seconds. And he goes, yeah, but I'm looking up the thing that you were that you wanted. And I said, okay,
you work here,
I get that, but at the end of the day, I'm ready to go now. Do you know what I'm saying? And still, you could look that up. I mean, when I'm gone. And not only that, he did the same shit the last time I was in the store. He did the same bullshit with the phone, and like, I didn't say anything that time.
Right.
And he's like, I was trying to help. He goes, I don't understand why you're going off at me and da da da. I goes, I work in the service industry. This is not good customer service. That's why. And he's like, I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me what I'm doing. I goes, if you knew what you were doing, we would not be having this conversation. This is not good customer service, bro. And he's like, oh, and it was like, I left the store. And I wasn't like mad angry, because I've realized now, similar to something you said, there's a difference between acting from emotion and acting with emotion. So I can use emotion and express something like that, and then walk out of that space and be completely just like down the road. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm not like oh and fuming and like, that's a completely different thing. But the point I'm getting at is that too many people are comfortable delivering shitty service, and no one calls it out. Like, I understand to a degree, okay, if you're paying a certain amount of money, there's a certain amount of service you expect. And there's certain places where, you know, I wouldn't walk into certain places and expect, you know, 5-star service. But it's just certain basic courtesy. Like, I'm giving you money. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming into your store and I'm giving you money. Like the least you can do is make eye contact, show some kind of courtesy and manners and shit, and just basic
First question.
human decency. Hit me.
Was he the owner of the shop?
No.
Right. Where was the owner of the shop? Where was the boss?
No, he wasn't there.
Talk to the boss. That's what you do. If it's a big franchise-based company, write a mean review online. As simple as that. Because if you go and talk to this person who was done also to you, if you don't combat that nonsense with emotion, if you don't combat that with that nonsense, it will happen again tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. So when that happens, in order to save the next generation of people going through that door and receiving that nonsense, you destroy that nonsense before it happens again. That's what I do. If I walk in anywhere
Excellent.
and I get nonsense and I don't get excellence, I want to see the manager. My Karen kicks in. I don't business. My blaring kicks in. My black Karen kicks in. Blaring. Coming in hot. Boom. I'm like, nope. Where's the manager? What's up with that? I first go, dude, you're working. Can you not be on your phone, please? I put the please there on purpose. And I put the please there once. After that, we're done. I'm good.
Yeah, I could probably use putting the please in there.
I'm looking around for that. I say what I want to say, but then I put the please. I need to put the please the first time. And then I look around looking for who is the owner of the shop. No, I don't do that.
No, obviously you don't. I'm just...
Because there's cameras, you know. I want to, but, you know. So, and what? Say what again? Do you know?
Yeah, I did it.
You know, that person. So,
Oh, man.
I did. I talked to the owners or to the bosses. It's the same case I had with a delivery company a few days ago, where the driver was trying to be funny with my item. Now, bear in mind, I've worked in the delivery industry for years, so I know the hustle. At 5 a.m. or 4:30 a.m., we go to the warehouse, we pick up all the stuff. So now I map out my delivery from the warehouse to my house, right? My house, the one that's supposed to be my house, is the last delivery.
Sure.
So that's the first one that goes in the van. Make sense?
Yeah.
And that way, so based on my level of delivery, I'm gonna just tick. Now, some people are not gonna be home. It is what it is. That stuff, I will have to take it back to the warehouse after I've delivered everything. Now, most times we take it back to the warehouse the next day. So it might be in the van. We might store it like normal storage. It might be in the van. But we don't go back to the warehouse the next morning. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So, my delivery at 5:53 p.m. was not in my front door. And I was outside there waiting, and it says delivered. Dude, mate, I know this hustle.
Oh, there's so many people that do this now.
So here's the hustle, right? For a delivery driver, what they would do is they would look at the address and go, oh, cool, that's a business address. The item in that box, if it's a business, it must cost more than £100, which means I can take it and sell it somewhere for make some money out of it. Moreover, it's a business, therefore they're not going to remember it. They can get a refund. They're insured. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Wow.
It's the hustle. It's the
so
hustle.
they keep it and make it look like they delivered it and someone else stole it.
And then I complain and go, oh no, I think someone stole my item. Okay, sir / madam, we're gonna refund you or give you another one. It's a $1 billion industry. What's £10? What's £100? You understand? So I go, no, fuck that. Not me. Somebody else? Yeah? Me? No. Where's my stuff? Oh, it's gone back to the warehouse. How, Sway? How? You ain't got the answers. That was me on the phone. How, Sway? Shut up, I'm talking. You are going to explain to me how my man went from here to that warehouse in 2 minutes and back. Explain. Go on. Like I'm called stupid. Go on. Sir, we're sorry. I said, wait till I want you sorry do. What am I going to you sorry and do? Am I going to eat sorry? I don't want sorry. I don't want your apologies. I want my item. Oh, sir, we're going to refund you. No, I don't want the money. I want my item. Oh, okay. We're going to give you a new pair. No. I don't want that new stuff. I want this one.
And you need it for classes too, right?
I don't care. If it's a left sock. It's the integrity. Yeah. It's the honor. It's your word. It's your bond. You said you're going to do something. You did it. It's about lying, and it's about truth, and it's about supporting theft. I don't steal. We don't do stealing around here. I don't want anyone. I want that one. That one that says delivered. Show me. I'm gonna wait here. So no. My gym closed 4 hours ago, and I'm still here. I get paid £1 a minute. Are you gonna cover that cost? Exactly. I want that one.
And so you're talking to who at this point? Not the driver. Not the driver.
Not driver. I said, give me the driver's details. Give me the driver's details. Give me, I want his number. I want her number. What's their name? Pass it to me. We can't give it to you. Oh, but you can support theft. Bear in mind, I was well aware that when you start raising your voice at these guys, it starts recording. Therefore, with recording, I'm saying you're supporting theft. This is about integrity and this and that. They're like, oh, this is not a good thing to be said when we're being recorded. So what did I do? I said, no. I don't want refund. I don't want new pairs. I'm gonna wait. I am going to wait till I waited, and it delivered.
I'm guessing he had some explanation like, oh, I thought it was lost, but then I found it, or some bullshit. What was the explanation?
Again, this is a case of you don't talk to the person, you talk to the boss. I didn't say what to him. Just pointed. Simple. You drop it, go. That's all I had to say.
And he didn't say anything.
Nothing to be said. Simple.
Do you know what?
Simple as that.
I'm finding more and more body language is a lot more powerful than words, man.
It's more powerful. I get lots of people who come to learn from me who English is not their first language, or they just can't speak English at all. But I speak their language. Body language. They get it. This is the way. You know, and I like it. So the more I do body language, the less I talk. So everyone goes like, why you just and then I go, it works.
I once challenged myself to go a day without speaking, and it was very interesting how much. It was similar to when I did the water fast and I didn't eat. You realise how much of your eating is unnecessary, and I realised how much of my communication was unnecessary. It was like, oh wow, just a lot of it was just filling time. Part of you's uncomfortable with silence or something, but yeah, I think you're definitely onto something with that. Less words. I want to add to the customer service stuff because I don't want it to just be like ranting. I do want it to be more solution focused, and I think there's a few things, right? So some people provide shitty customer service because they don't really care about what they're doing, which I understand. It's hard to do something well if you really don't give a shit about it.
Yep.
So ideally, find stuff that you actually want to do, right? Like ideally, but even more important than that is that you're not working for someone else. You're working for yourself ultimately. So if you're doing a shit job, that's how you're expressing yourself in that moment. You're not functioning. You're not functioning at your best. You're not really being who you are. You're giving people this kind of diluted diet version of you when you're doing sloppy work.
How so?
Well, because you don't respect yourself when you're doing that. If you're not giving your best, if you're not trying at all, and you're just doing the bare minimum, you can trick yourself that into like, oh well, I'm getting paid to do nothing, but ultimately you don't feel good about what you're doing. Do you know what I'm saying? When you give a good effort, when you really try at something, there's a different level of self-respect and self-esteem that's created in that. So you're not really tricking anyone if you cut corners like that. And beyond that, there's a great quotation around how your success is in proportion to what you do beyond what's expected. And so most people come in and they expect, you know, £5 of service for £5 of payment, or £100 of service for £100 of payment.
Right.
But whatever you do beyond that is what separates you. And I find now just those little things you can add in, and it could be the energy you're giving people, it could be your banter, it could be the fact you take time with them, it could be the way you do what you're doing. I was working on Saturday, and there was a moment, bro. It happened a couple times, but it was like people were in a trance.
Yep.
It was surreal.
What do you mean trance? How?
Well, and this happened the other day as well. Like I was working, but like I get into a flow sometimes where it's like my energy is so like focused, and what I'm doing, it flows so seamlessly. It's like if you're watching Tai Chi, right? The Tai Chi, the movements haven't got breaks, so you can see it. It's like a continuous fluid motion, so it's quite hypnotic, right? Because the motion keeps rolling. Yeah. And so when I work, I try and make it fluid like that, and I get into a flow. And so at one point, I was doing it because I'm just in my flow, and there were like 4 or 5 people, and they were just like, wow, just like tranced out,
contagious.
And I was like, wow. And you can feel the energy that you're giving off, and you can feel the energy that's coming to you. You can feel like the curiosity or whatever it is. It's really, really interesting. But when you're in those kind of flows and you're given that level, you're rewarded in so many different ways, man. Whether it's people like giving testimonials, or coming up to you and giving you thanking you for how their night went. You get more opportunities coming as well. Like I had someone contact me a day or 2 ago, and it was based on some work I did in the summer. And this woman I'd met, we'd exchanged numbers. She was opening a few new restaurants, and she connected me with a woman who's an operations manager for some organization. And she just contacted me about a whole bunch of different work. And I'm like, more and more things are coming to me like that now, where I've got more work than I can do, actually. And the level of the opportunities are going up and up and up as well. And it's just from just doing a little bit more than is expected. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just those little extra touches here and there which separate you. And so, yeah, it comes back to you in so many different ways, man, what you give.
Okay, that's true. Yeah. Life lesson. Would you like to add anything else in there, please, sir?
Not that I can think of, and I realise.
That's fine.
What about you?
When you do what you love and you love what you do, it all comes together.
Sounds cheesy, but it's true, isn't it?
It's so true. Very cheesy, but it's like, yeah. Like a Stan Lee quote.
And what about people that don't know what they love to do, Kez?
It will come. Find it. Just.
I said find it.
It's true. Find it. It will come.
And how do they find it, Kez?
I'm gonna go into the Pocahontas for you. You need to listen with your heart. You need to see with your ears.
Oh my God.
You need to smell with your tongue.
I'm just sick in my mouth a little bit.
You have to see the colors of the wind.
That's the formula right there.
That is. It's all how until it clicks, until you actually stop moving and you start listening, and then you go, oh, all I had to do was slow down, and then everything starts to make sense. And then you go, oh, thank you, Kes. And I'll be like, yeah, but I told you last year. You're welcome.
Yeah, don't you love that when they're like, oh, you know what, that didn't, you're like, oh, that thing I said 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, you were right that time. I did not know when I was talking it. I was just talking out of my ass because see your life. Anyways, it's been emotional. 24. Bliss. If you need me, find me. If you need him, find him. Other than that, latest.
Deuces.